Good afternoon, everybody. Happy International Men's Day. So I thought I would use today as an opportunity to, speak a little bit about male issues and some of the kind of problems facing men. I think today is a perfect platform in which to do that. And I myself, I have kind of been involved in working with both young boys and young girls around masculinity, positive masculinity, and what that kind of really looks like. So I do feel like I am in a position to talk about it, and actually I kind of feel quite strongly that I want to. Now, before I kind of get into anything and start, I just want to make a clear statement that when I'm talking about men's issues or male problems, that is in no way at all in competition or opposition to women's issues. Women face a plethora of struggles, issues in society, and what I'm talking about is not trying to take away from that in any way at all. If anything, quite the opposite. I'm trying to talk about male issues in order for us all to grow. And for us to kind of be able to move forward in harmony together, because at the end of the day, we are all humans, and issues that face women impact men, issues that face men impact women. So in order to kind of address it and for us all to grow and kind of come out of it stronger and more informed, I think we need more people speaking about some of the issues facing men. Now, I suppose kind of a good place to start really, and one of the more kind of attention grabbing and your kind of headline pieces when it comes to male struggles is male suicide. Now, I have some friends of mine, I didn't know the guy personally, but someone that my friends know committed suicide not that long ago. I've had friends who've committed suicide, more than a few, if I'm honest. And if that is not a perfect example of a male issue, then I don't know what is. And the reason I say it like that, because what I've kind of found over the years, the best way to quite interestingly is any time I find myself, whether it be a social setting, talking to people about what I do, when I mention that I work with boys and girls about male issues, it evokes a very strong negative reaction, predominantly in women, which if I'm honest, I've been quite taken aback by and shocked by, not because I couldn't have seen it coming or it wasn't something I could have predicted, but just, I suppose, the vigor with which me talking about male issues seems to kind of make people think that there is some, almost like, what issues, I suppose, is the reaction I get. What do you mean you're working with men and men's issues? What are the issues? And male suicide, if that's not a perfect example of an issue, what is? Now, when it comes to male suicide, the stats are pretty shocking. I think between the age of 20 and 35, men are 4 times more likely to kill themselves than women are. And that ranges from 4 times to I think maybe 2 or 3. As you get a bit older, it decreases slightly, but men throughout their lives are more likely to take their own lives than women are. Now, I suppose the important kind of thing behind that is, okay, so what is that a representation of? What does it mean to say that men are more likely to kill themselves? Now, there is a number of different things that you can take from that. I think the general kind of term and consensus that we're given is that men clearly unable to talk about their issues or express their emotions. So with all of that bottled up inside themselves, that's why they do it, because they haven't opened up. And I have been reading this book called The Empathy Gap, which is a very interesting book. It's quite provocative, actually. A lot of the narrative that kind of I had kind of been digesting and ingesting for most of my life, this book kind of took a lot of that and turned it on its head. And for example, this notion that men kill themselves because they don't talk about it, at its essence, is taking the problem and turning it back on men. So if I'm unwilling to share or unable to share, what is this? It's kind of my fault, really. which in many ways we are saying to these men and men who kill themselves that they've done it because they've not opened up. It's their fault, really, at a core level. And actually, I already kind of felt this myself, and what I read in the book, and I don't think that's true at all, actually. I think if you look at the research, when are the times that men are most likely to take their own lives? Now, that will often be around marital breakup, relationship breakdown, especially if there are children involved. And the way that the court systems are structured, men have no control over that at all. So I just suppose I would just put out there that we need to maybe rethink what we know around men and suicide. Now, kind of, I suppose, moving on from that and into I don't know, just another area of that would be, so I myself have had probably one of the tougher years I've had in a very, very long time. I can't remember really facing such a difficult year, and I've been struggling to provide for myself, to provide for my family. I've had lots of kind of things just collapse around me, and what it's brought up for me is it's made me question my worth as someone who's not able to provide. Where does that put me now as a man? Your ability to provide for your family, for yourself or not, holds extreme weight. Now, that is not just because, I'm macho, I've got to be a provider. That is because if, as a man, you aren't providing, you very, very quickly fall to the sides, to the periphery of society. Now, you only have to look at alcoholism, homelessness, incarceration, suicide, to see how an inability to be a provider or contribute towards society leads to breakdown in male ability to even be a part of that society. Now, I won't go into too much depth about statistics when it comes to alcoholism, drug abuse, incarceration, but just a quick example of kind of some of the imbalances. Since I think it was like the 1970s, serious crime has been steadily falling. With the exception of knife crime, on the whole, serious crime has been falling. In that same time period, the amount of men incarcerated has been steadily rising. And I just find that's quite an interesting stat, how serious crime falls, yet men's incarceration goes up. Now, I'm currently working with an organisation called Letting Grow. Two of my friends started it. It's doing fantastic work in provisional units. Provisional units are schools for children who have been kicked out of school. And it's quite glaringly, obviously there in your face, the amount of boys in the school to girls. And not just in provisional units, but if you look at education, every step of the way, men and boys are behind their counterparts. I think it starts off, men are like 12% kind of behind when it comes to grades in primary school. You get to secondary school, 25%, and then by the time we're going to university, men are 36% less likely to go to university. Now, men underachieve in every level of education.